from all your experience, you could give one advice to the new generation, what would it be?
So yeah, I mean, I've repeated this multiple times.
Exactly.
So I don't want to touch upon it again. But another thing, and this is something that I sort of struggle with, you know, even today, it's like, okay, I need to make sure that I keep listening to this advice, is to make sure that you keep learning. When people, I was thinking about this the other day and I read this, in a book again, so according to me, when people ask me, what is the most important skill? What is the most important thing to take away? I think it's your adaptability quotient. And I remember there's someone who wrote this book talking about, again, they brought up the same point that the adaptability quotient is more important than your intellectual quotient or emotional quotient going into the future. And we were debating this out. And, I think it's really important that you have a high AQ, because going into the future, right, think about how quickly things are changing. Even for lawyers, it might not happen overnight, might not happen in 10 years, might not happen in 20 years, but at some point technology begins to creep in. You've seen how over the past 20 years, how many jobs have changed, how many people's careers have changed. Even today, right, in fintech, or I currently, before heading out to HBS, I sort of transitioned out of my day-to-day at Plain Crazy. And I've been working at the CEO's office at Dr. Vedya's, which is an e-commerce startup in the Ayurveda space. And we're seeing, right, even through the pandemic, we're primarily focused on e-commerce, but we're seeing how many more people have taken to technology, more than actually going anywhere. And we're seeing the amazing technologies that people are building to help facilitate this in the future as well. So, that just in terms of that, right, there's so many things that are constantly changing so quickly. It's really important that you have a high IQ and you're able to sort of adapt. And that's where I think your learning comes in as well, right? If you are able to sort of, you don't need to code necessarily, because there's so many no code platforms out there. But, I think building out that logic, right, thinking how a coder thinks, thinking about how a computer sort of really functions, that's important. Being able to understand how basic business works, so pushing into accounting, pushing into trying to run your own company, or at least working with someone who's running a company, understanding things from them. Being able to do multiple things, right? Constantly reading, constantly trying to upskill yourself, reskill, make sure that you're able, no matter what the world throws at you, right? You don't want to be in a situation where you're ever made redundant, and you need to be able to adapt quickly. So many businesses, right, by virtue of this pandemic, have had to shut down, very unfortunate. And there's so many businesses that have started doing even better. Again, in many cases, it is very fortunate because people have moved towards online, moved towards tech. But there are so many businesses that have been able to pivot really quickly. And I think that's where it's really important, right? If you're able to adapt quickly, if you're able to adapt one step or two step or three steps quicker than anyone else, because you've been prepared for it and you're not sort of fearing, or you're not sort of scared of anything that's going to come your way, you're going to be prepared better than anyone else for the future.
I think that summarizes everything that you have said throughout the podcast, is that keep learning new things, do things for the own sake of you enjoying them. And the last thing that you mentioned, an adaptability quotient, I think that will go on to being one of the most important factors other than EQ or IQ in the future. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, click here to check how Mishaal got into Harvard Business School. Click here for the entire New Generation podcast. And go hit that like button, share this video with all of your friends, and subscribe to my channel to keep growing and learning. Thank you so much.